Follow News 1226 on Facebook for the latest up-to-date coverage near you.
From the station that's on your side, breaking news.
And we begin with this breaking news that we're following right now out of Burke County. SWAT team responding to a home there in Waynesboro.
This is Magnolia Apartments, and we do know there's a standoff with at least 2 people barricaded inside. Some of our crews on the scene heard loudspeakers as they were trying to talk to these people, but you can see a lot of people there at Magnolia Homes Apartments.
We're watching these pictures as the situation develops there, and we'll keep you updated with the very latest as it comes into us here in the newsroom. Also today, state representatives have gotten to work redrawing the district lines in Georgia, something they do every 10 years, and impacts who represents you at the local level, the state, and even the federal level.
And they have just released the draft for congressional seats. That's who will represent you in the House in Washington, D.C. And you can see the old map here, and then also the draft as well for their plans for that.
Most notably here, Columbia County is not split down the middle with the new suggestion. Our Celeste Springer is in the studio with us to break it all down. Celeste, what have you learned from this map procedure?
Well, like you said, the big change there is coming from Columbia County not being split. In public comment hearings, many people did tell representatives that they did not understand why the county would be split down the middle. You can even see here, we pulled up all the public comment. We have one man here who commented from Grovetown saying that it's a military community and he wants the military communities to be able to be represented by the same person and grouped together in their representation. So that sort of thing is a big factor in how these lines are drawn. It's called communities of interest, and the idea is to group people with similar values and ideals into districts together. In this drafted map, Columbia County and other outlying counties would join District 12. That means they would be voting on the same ballot as Richmond County for congressional House seats.
Right, so your communities of interest basically would be like, you have a military community, you want to keep that together. Also, communities of interest can go all the way down to the precinct level. So what it looks like possibly we try to do here is you have persons basically within the CSRA or at least within that surrounding area, and that you're not trying to go too far out.
So now we have the draft for the congressional seats, but we're still waiting on the map drafts for the state Senate and state House. Coming up at 6 o'clock, I'm working to find out when or if we can expect to see those drafts in both Georgia and South Carolina before the state legislatures take a vote and make everything final.
It is a process. Celeste, thanks for the update. Now, lines for local elections and school districts are facing redistricting as well. Here's a look at how county commission and school districts would look in Richmond County. Leaders consider the new district lines based on census data and redistricting meetings where you've been giving your reaction. The changes don't really have any huge impacts here, but just some adjustments to the district size. Some are growing a bit, some are getting a little smaller, but none by more than 57 people. We have much more news ahead after a live look.
City and region.
Bowen says they've had 2 or 3 productions returning because of their use of the old jail for their filming.
North Augusta Public Safety is asking you for any information you may have about a cat healing from a gunshot wound. It happened Sunday. As of today, they have no evidence or witness statement to help them in finding the suspect or why this person might have done something like that. Kitty's owner, Julian, is happy that Kitty's okay, but is looking for answers.
You know, they say cats have 9 lives. It's right. I just like to know who did it, they don't do it again to other people's pets.
Kitty is in some pain. You see his little broken shoulder. He's got the saddest little cast I've ever seen. The bullet is still in his arm, but it's not in a dangerous spot, luckily. But everything should be healed up in the next 3 months.
Hope so. A close call for Highway Patrol in Florida, and a driver. Dash cam footage catching the whole thing. The moment when a car veers off track, slams into this car, narrowly missing 2 people. The officer was about to inspect the driver's tire, which had burst, and the officer managed to run away right as that speeding car crashes into the parked car. No injuries there. The driver of the parked car just with some minor injuries. Police say they're looking for the driver of the crashed car who backed up and drove away.
Oh my gosh, he's lucky he had his head on a swivel there. Big day in Atlanta today as the Braves hosted games.
Thousands of bees making themselves right at home in this big hive. How crews handle those squatters in just a few minutes.
And high temperatures today in Augusta.
Valuations are free.
Some breaking news to pass along to you this afternoon out of Washington County. They say someone was trying to make a contraband drug drop at the Washington County prison, and when police went to investigate, they say the suspect's drone landed on the police car. Officials say 28-year-old Tony Brown arrested in all of this, charged with 2 conspiracy counts. You know, Halloween is coming up soon, and every year we get those same phone calls from parents wondering, when are we going to do trick-or-treating this year? For the most part, everywhere, no one said anything about deviating from Halloween night, which falls on a Sunday. They're going by the calendar.
They're doing Halloween on Halloween.
Yeah.
But tonight, the Grovetown City Council has Halloween hours on the agenda to chat about, and we did reach out. They say they're going to talk about whether to celebrate on the actual day or Saturday instead.
We'll let you know if they make a change there. And as you gear up for the holiday, you can pick up some regionally grown pumpkins. St. Bart's Episcopal Church opening up their pumpkin patch today in North Augusta, the same place they are year after year. They have all sorts of sizes and shapes and prices, so there's a pumpkin for just about all of us.
And you can also go take those cute fall photos. They have a story time area where people from the church read books to kids, so really cute spot to get photos with the kids.
It is a great spot. A lot of generations have done exactly that. As we check in with First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley
next week.
I want to get you back to that SWAT team situation in Waynesboro where someone has just come out of that apartment complex in handcuffs.
Magnolia Apartments is where this scene is, and we are told that at least one person has come out. But before we were watching this, because this was a standoff where at least 2 people were barricaded inside, we don't know the circumstances, but again, the police have put at least one person in handcuffs.
Hopefully the scene is clearing out now and we can bring you more details as they come into us here in the newsroom. Meanwhile, check this out. A beehive takes over an abandoned Atlanta home. Thousands of bees proving to be really a nuisance for the neighbors there.
Just wild video. This is something out of a nightmare. Yeah, no thanks. But after weeks of waiting, the hive is finally gone. Alan Devlin shows us why neighbors say it is a long time coming.
The bees was there the whole time, but it just kept on getting bigger and bigger. It was literally like thousands of bees inside there. Absolutely crazy. I mean, because I thought this was going to fall all over him.
Matthew sees bees.
I mean, I'm afraid to come out the house sometimes, you know.
As a massive hive of the honeymakers grows their vacant house right next door.
But when I walked in here, I was like, oh my God. It's crazy.
But killing them, not an option. It's frowned upon right here in Georgia. These guys endangered and essential to the ecosystem.
The honeybee populations have been struggling in recent years, so that's why it's more important to make sure we're doing the right thing for the honeybees, and that's not killing them.
Everybody was telling me, oh, you can't hurt the bees, you can't hurt them, bless your heart. Please, bless your heart. Who's gonna bless me when they sting me?
But Seas has learned, and the owner of the vacant house got the bees removed today.
You can see the honey and stuff like on the window and everything like that. I mean, you can smell it.
Some still linger around the property, but Seas happy with the progress.
So it's gonna have some really good honey.
He's got a good attitude about the whole thing.
He's also got a good point, right? You know, we do want them to help the environment, but when they're your neighbors,
bless their heart.
Like, I'm the one who's going to have 700 sting wounds.
And I imagine the view from inside, looking out that window, must have been kind of crazy to see. But they're going to continue watching that home just to make sure the remaining bees don't try to come back and rebuild that colony.
Better get the queen. Get the queen
Gotta
out
get
of
the queen.
there. Yeah, but wild when that is next door. Well, if you take a lot of notes with your smartphone, you may need a really good note-taking app.
Call all 9s now.
Follow News 1226 on Instagram to see what's trending in your area.
From the station that's on your side. Breaking news.
Good evening. We've been following this breaking news out of Burke County where the scene is just now clearing up. But this is a live look at Waynesboro. A SWAT team in the sheriff's office just clearing out from this apartment complex.
This is at the Magnolia Acres Apartments, and you can still see a decent crowd out there. But we have just been told that 2 people have come out. One was detained, and we are told that this was over warrants. But this was the scene just 20 minutes ago. As you can see, a pretty tense situation. Finally, that man emerges, hands up, and the woman eventually came out following him. So fortunately, that put a peaceful end to this.
It's good to see no one was injured there. The man is put into cuffs and then led to a waiting patrol car. We're trying to work to find out more about the situation, but we're told, as Laura said, that this all started with an arrest warrant, a developing situation out of Burke County. But follow us on the air and online. We'll bring you the very latest. But glad to see no one hurt there in Waynesboro. Also this evening, after nearly 2 years, local doctors say we could be phasing out of this pandemic.
And that is music to everyone's ears, but don't get ahead of yourself. Today, doctors with AU Health tell us COVID-19 is on track to become an endemic, which basically just means the virus won't just disappear, something we'll live with and manage, much like the flu.
Now, this comes as we hit week 2 in the rollout for booster shots. Right now, you're eligible to get a Pfizer booster if you're 65 or older, considered high risk, or if your job puts you at higher risk for exposure.
Our local hospitals say right now demand for that third dose is pretty strong.
News 12's Kennedy Harris at AU for us at the vaccine clinic with what doctors say they expect moving forward.
Well, the inside of Washington Square isn't quite like it used to be, but despite all the empty chairs, doctors say the demand for booster shots is high. But in contrast, the demand for first and second doses is low. There are no lines at Washington Square. No full stations or lack of chairs, so doctors say there's still plenty of shots to go around.
The focus has definitely switched.
It's been about 2 weeks since the Pfizer booster rollout began. Since then, those considered high risk over 65 or working in high risk environments have been steadily turning out.
We definitely want individuals who are eligible to get the booster, but we don't want to forget about unvaccinated.
Boosters will ramp up even more by the end of the month if Moderna's booster is approved.
But through AU, yes.
The FDA will meet this week to review the Moderna booster, then the CDC will meet next week. Dr. Weich says if you're eligible, get it.
Because what we know in vaccinations is that a prime series followed by a booster dose does give sustained and significantly improved immunity.
Unlike Pfizer's, which is a third full dose, the Moderna booster will likely be just half of the original dosage. Dr. Weich says 2 doses and a booster is the protection some might need heading into the winter months.
Is that this is going to become endemic. COVID-19 is something we're going to live with and manage, much like the flu or another type of respiratory virus.
Kennedy Harris, on your side.
And the FDA says this week it plans to review the booster shot for the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. They're also looking into what happens if you mix and match your vaccine and your booster shot. Right now, the CDC recommends you stick with the same for both. So if you get a Pfizer vaccine, get that Pfizer booster.
We also asked AU Health about recent concerns about the Moderna vaccine. Over the weekend, several countries made the decision to restrict the use of Moderna in those younger groups because of a side effect that causes heart inflammation. But Dr. Weich tells us they are continuing to look into that, but they do not expect to make any changes.
At this point in time in the country, we do not feel it would be appropriate to hold back or not vaccinate males under the age of 40 because of the risk of myocarditis.
Dr. Weich tells us the vast majority of cases resolve themselves within a few weeks, while the FDA says the benefits of the Moderna vaccine far outweigh those risks.
Well, it is starting to look a little more like fall over at St. Bart's Pumpkin Patch. This is North Augusta, Martintown Road. They just got their yearly batch of pumpkins unloaded from that truck yesterday after church.
A holiday tradition. Got to go out there with the kids, get the pictures, pumpkins for everyone. But we're just glad that it's starting to feel a tiny bit more like fall out there. We have First Alert Chief Meteorologist Riley Hale to tell us what we can expect. 2 teens are missing from Richmond County tonight, and now the Sheriff's Office is asking for your help finding them. 19-year-old Brycey Tal-Sani on your left. Deputies say she was last seen October 6th on Grandwood Lane in Augusta. 16-year-old Isaiah Lewis is there on the right. He was last seen October 6th on Walton Loop in Hepzibah. So if you have any information on either teen, call the Sheriff's Office.
Well, the drafts are out now for Georgia's new congressional districts.
And News 12 Celeste Springer is live in our studio with a first look at the changes, how those might impact you.
Well, the most notable change here is that Columbia County would no longer be split between districts 10 and 12. That means over here, where we have the new draft maps, it's all combined. Columbia County is no longer split down the middle. And in other terms, Columbia County and other counties to the west of it will be voting voting on the same ballot as people in Richmond County do for electing House representatives in Washington, D.C. But the process for drawing new maps is far from over. Legislators turned cartographers. State representatives are redrawing the lines that impact who represents you in office.
The district needs to be compact. It also needs to be contiguous, which means it kind of fits together. We don't want to have a lot of different kind of puzzle pieces. We want it to fit together pretty easily.
The new congressional map draft keeps Columbia County in one piece.
I think it's quite important that they have taken our voices into play and say, hey, let's make sure that we keep this area together.
The goal here is to group areas together that have the same interests and ideals.
So your community's interest basically would be like, if you have a military community, you want to keep that together.
One draft is down, but there's still 2 more to go. The redistricting committee has yet to release drafts for state Senate and House seats. No word yet on when or if you'll be able to provide comment on those prior to state lawmakers making them final.
That just opens the door for so many people to be disenfranchised, marginalized, and their vote not equally represented.
Public meetings have just wrapped up in South Carolina. They have not drafted their maps over there yet.
Everybody has an interest to move efficiently and also move fast, but make sure we get it done.
And the clock continues to tick by. The lines remain up in the air. And even though public comment meetings have wrapped up in Georgia and South Carolina, you can still provide public comment on what you want our state Senate, state House, and congressional districts to look like. We'll actually have this posted on our website as well, but here you can submit your comments if you live in Georgia, and if you're curious, you can even take a look through what some of your neighbors have to say about all the input. And this is so important to be able to do this because all of this is documented, it's saved, and it holds lawmakers accountable if they don't draw lines that represent the interests of our communities. Again, we will have all of this linked on our website if you're interested in filling some of that out.
All right, thanks for that, Celeste. Redistricting happening on the local level too, and this is what your county commissioners and school districts say this could look like if you live in Richmond County. The plans on the table don't make any major adjustments to district size, but some districts are growing, some getting a little smaller, but none by more than 57 people, so marginal changes there.
Also this evening, North Augusta officers looking for a person who shot a cat.
It happened on West Martintown Road, and the cat did survive, but now his owner wants some answers. Sloan O'Cone here with us with where the investigation stands.
This is Kitty. On Sunday, his owner Julian found him limping in his backyard. He thought maybe he got bit by a squirrel or something, but he didn't expect what the vet told him next.
It looked really awful. So I took him to the vet, and then they took x-rays. It looks like that somebody shot him with like a low caliber gun.
Julian Richards and Kitty are best friends.
I love this cat very much. He sleeps with me at night.
He can't believe someone would hurt his pet.
That's really sad. Somebody would do that. He was shot and it survived. But I think he was very lucky.
Now he's looking for answers.
I just like to know who did it, that they don't do it again to other people's pets.
He says Kitty is very friendly and smart. Despite a little bit of pain, Kitty is still playing on his broken shoulder with the bullet still inside. The surgery to remove the bullet would cost anywhere from $3,000 to $6,000. It's in a non-threatening place, so for now it'll stay in and the splint will stay on. North Augusta Public Safety is aware of the incident, but there is no evidence or witnesses to help in the investigation. And unfortunately, Kitty can't talk.
And Public Safety says that if you have any information to please let them know. Kitty should be healed and better in the next 3 months. In North Augusta, Sloan O'Cone on your side.
No, Kitty does not want to be controlled.
Kitty's had enough.
Poor Kitty has
Moving
been
on.
through a lot, and if you do have any information that could help officers, the number to call North Augusta Public Safety is right here on your screen, 803-441-4251.
Glad Kitty's okay though.
Yeah.
Okay, time for